coming in late or whatever. So here we are. So it's October 2019, and this is the Perfect Soil Call, our Zoom call with our friends. So we do have someone, more than one person new here today, actually. Tracy Taylor is a client of mine here on the Big Island. And Tracy, would you like to tell us a little bit about you?
Okay, sure. I have been coming back and forth to the Big Island for about 10 years. And this last year, I was able to buy a 3-acre parcel of property that was actually 40 years in the making. This gentleman bought it 40 years ago, and he put in everything, you know, house, greenhouse, tilapia ponds, fruit orchard. He was raising cattle on it for a while, but it's fairly cleared. And apparently, I guess they ripped it way back when. And it was run down and neglected, and his health was ailing, and he had to move back to the mainland. But before, I guess the last few years, he's been using Roundup on a lot of things because he couldn't, weed whack or pull weeds anymore. So I've spent the last, from the beginning of this year till now, getting rid of the trash, getting rid of the toxins, and kind of trying to bring everything back to life. And it's been a lot of fun.
That's great. Awesome. Carol, you want to tell us about you real quick, and then we'll get on to Jamiah. Jamiah's got the main presentation today.
Okay, I live in Jamiah's neighborhood, and I'm doing container gardening. I'm in a converted auto repair shop, so I have no dirt.
Wow. Well, good for you to keep going anyway and do something. That's great. All right, Jamiah, I think you've got the floor.
Yeah.
And this video
Awesome.
will be going out to all the other people that couldn't be here today, but we'll enjoy seeing your video, I'm sure.
Okay, well, wonderful. I'm excited to meet everyone. As Dr. Bogs mentioned, my name is Jamiah Hargins, and I am living here in Los Angeles. Here in my backyard is a garden that I started for my family just before we moved into this rental home. And I started it because I needed to find an economic and health mitigation to the way that things are here in Los Angeles. And that is that food is difficult to come by in a healthy way, in an affordable way, and in a local way. Having a daughter added a little bit of urgency, as you'd imagine, to me fixing that. I wanted to, have my own home stock to make sure to have that ready for my daughter. So essentially, that's what I did, and I built raised beds. I have done some soil testing, as the doctor mentioned on the message, that is, informative as a kind of previous background of my land here. As it turns out, this is a grassy space beforehand, and the brother that lived here before, he loved his grass. He was from, I think, Kentucky. And if any of you guys have been around Kentucky, it's a beautiful grassy place. But unfortunately, in his efforts to make it better, he added too much zinc. And now I've got like zinc grass, dirt, whatever it is, that now I've got some strategies to work on. I'm not worried about it. So eventually, though, we had so much food that we had the opportunity to share the extras and the extra materials, extra soil with people nearby. Like our neighbors began to get involved, just kind to give something to somebody. It's also, when you have 16 zucchinis, like how many more zucchinis do you need after 3? But it's created a creative community. It's created cohesion in an atmosphere that was otherwise dense. It's created an opportunity for people to fight back against things that they felt helpless against. And for me, it's created an opportunity to fix a number of big economic challenges that we have. Particularly, there are many people who are re-entry, and that is people who are coming back into society into society. Could be having been incarcerated beforehand, back into society, having been in the military as a veteran now, or back into society as somebody who has been homeless and now is looking to get back integrated. So what we're doing now is combining the excess that nature provides with the needs that our society has. The excess in the form of networking between, we've got about 100 gardeners right now in between us around LA. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's great.
They're growing all kinds of things. It's amazing. Some have orchards, some are small time, balcony gardeners. So that's pretty cool. Everything in between. And, many people just have trees that produce too much. So we harvest that and add that to what we call now the crop swap. It's a monthly crop swap. Started here, and now we've had 12 in a row. And actually, I'm honored to tell you all that today is our 1-year anniversary. We just had our 12th crop swap down the street. So I'm excited to see that, we're creating longevity, cohesion. People know each other. They're like getting together on their own. And yeah, so that's great in and of itself. But now it's about creating a business that's sustainable. We've brought in some advisors to help us construct our business, as early as April this year, that is creating gardens on residential and commercial rooftops, but also doing so in a market productive way. So high productivity. And when I came across Dr. Bogue's information about like nutrient grown food, man, it just blew my mind. I read your whole book. It's not thick, but I read the whole thing. Yeah. And so I just thought it was really essential, an essential component of the movement that we're putting together here in the West Adams Crop Swap. It's essential that the food we produce isn't just a replica of bad soil food, but that it regains its purpose to meet our bodies where they are. So I've got a little presentation. I'd love to, answer any quick questions, but really it's kind of like a photo slideshow of how we got started as an organization. So got a couple of seconds to raise your hand. Cool. So I'm going.
Yeah. Can you somehow or another take over and show your presentation largely?
Yeah, I'll screen share.
Yeah, screen share.
All right, you should see it now, and what you see in front of you is the dump truck that came to my lawn, to my driveway, and I was like, wait, is that what 9 metric yards meant?
Yeah.
This is me about halfway through it anyway. And that's just to say that I got so much that I gave it array of people right away at the sidewalk. I said, hey, do you have any plants at home? Take this soil. It's super fresh. It smells amazing. And so that started it. This is the first area I planted, a raised bed with an L shape starting to the left side going south, and then going to the right side going west. And I was not trying to do it professionally. I literally had 3 days to get that dirt out of the way so my moving truck could get there.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that's kind of the construction of the raised bed, very rudimentary, very amateur, but it grew quickly. I have irrigation, and had a lot of food, including some side grow areas.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is really fantastic. It's a zoom in of some seeds that
that's so cool.
The beauty that nature provides.
It's amazing.
I then have expanded the garden to the north a little bit, and it's grown pretty quickly. I had a giant sunflower that I think had 26 inches in diameter.
Wow. That's big.
Excellent, I think it's Swiss chard here. And this is where the crop swap begins. You know, we have all this extra food, and people who are experts or hobbyists anywhere along the spectrum of plant growing interests, they started trickling in. People started bringing things like baked breads. They bring special teas from herbs in their garden. Some people distill rosemary and other herbs for medicinal purposes and share that with the group. Some folks like Liza on the right here, she has chickens, and it's interesting because just today, those eggs you see on the table, just today I found out someone gave her some kale, which she gave to her chickens, and then I just happened to collect some eggs this week. So I'm eating that person's kale that I just met today.
Circle of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also, you know, people bring seedlings to share. They bring kombucha, extra grapes from vines that grow uncontrollably next door to their homes. It's an abundance of food that just happens to be there. And all we're doing is creating a network to make it share. That's my wife and daughter, Jana and Jania, with a butterfly that Christoph is giving to him. Bread, cacti, lemon and lime juice, abundance left and right. And it's created community for kids. It's great for my daughter to grow up in. People remember each other, I'd mentioned. And so this is fast forward to April when we decided to organize as an LLC. We have a number of people who are original founders, people who are involved to help us get moving. We collect things from people's lawns they don't want, like an abandoned raised bed and some flowers. And my daughter here, there's probably a reason I have this picture in here.
Yeah.
Let me see. Well, there's no theme. I don't know how that got in here. Anyway, so yeah, we harvest limes and lemons from people's lawns. It creates another element of our crop swap. And then we've started designing gardens professionally for people. The idea here is the more gardens that exist, the more abundance exists, and the more food we can have to share, pump into the existing food system like restaurants, caterers, food trucks, and open our own infrastructure that makes sense for the modern family. And that's to say, the modern family in our point of view is people who are busy. Like, they don't have time to cook too much these days. So they go for, you know, quick, easy dishes that aren't healthy. So how about we bring all of this abundance, the natural good abundance, to the people? And I think the best way to do it is to grow more food, pump it into the food system like restaurants, and then open food trucks like we're planning, and meet people where they are. We have professional architects, landscape architects working with us that have done projects of all kinds, rooftop gardens, you know, automated irrigation with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth hooked it up so you monitor your humidity, all these cool, you know, gadgets that we've got access to. And again, it's all community resource, people who step forward, people who are reaching out to specific skills. And, you know, this is all, you know, with zero budget so far. Here's some examples of that, of some of our architects' previous work. Brendan Wilson. Brendan Wilson also helps us access to some of the farmers markets. So we're being strategic in putting our first stamp on the infrastructure of our food system here, and that is we're opening a farmers market. It'll be the West Adams Farmers Market opening December 1st. If you were trying to find another farmers market nearby, anywhere east or south, you have to go really far. So there's a huge population this will be opening access to.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah. And it'll be hopefully a community cultural element too, like music. There's going to be a free yoga class at 11, like with kids and parents both welcome. And, you know, capacity for 40 vendors. You know, we are working to get that up. So the West Adams Farmers Market can really help people be closer to to the good quality food that they know they need.
Yeah.
This is the parking lot that we'll be opening that farmers market in, and here's a rooftop next to that parking lot with an alliance that we have. So the farmers market is an alliance partnership between the same Renaissance Corporation, Nationwide Realty, and ourselves, along with a council member, Harris Dawson, here in the city. So we've got the city pool, we've got a mega church, which is a huge cultural component to the city, a realtor who understands land and cares so much about creating this aspect, this element in the city, and ourselves, who are going to make sure that the food that comes to this farmers market is of the highest quality now that we know better.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Nice.
Let's see here. So here's a picture of, let's see, yeah, this may be a picture of a city park. And just to say that we're also partnering recently with the Parks and Recreation Department to find land to create specific agricultural, like urban agricultural space, like not touristy, but like fenced off, high productivity, hired professional trained people who are reentry, making food on the reliable. So we've got a number of like areas we're looking at, and even State Assemblywoman Kamlager Dove, and I hate to name drop, but State Assemblywoman Kamlager Dove is a fantastic person in general, and that she cares a lot about environmental stuff, but now she sees us as an opportunity to really hit at some of these social issues from the ground up, literally from the soil up, I'd say.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so here's a picture you may have seen before. It's not our work, but it's an image of what I imagine Los Angeles looking like in 10 years.
Yay,
Can you
that's
imagine?
beautiful. Wow.
I know.
Excellent.
Imagine walking down the street and saying, oh yeah, that's that special street, man. They have those front lawn gardens that's just tended, maintained by the West Adams crop swap every week. They get to swap on the way in. They prune, amend, and make the plants healthy on the way out. That street smells amazing because of all the pollination happening. It's prosperous. Kids play. People laugh. It's prosperity. And all it takes is a little bit of organizing. So this is a picture of somebody's house up in Canada somewhere, maybe Alberta. And they're famous. I'm sorry, I don't remember their names, but they've done a great job of just like maximizing front lawn space. And I say if we do that, we can get a lot of issues.
Yeah, that looks great.
And we can look like this. This is an image in Switzerland that is a community, but they all seem to farm. And I'm just like, why can't we do that in LA? We have temperate zone number 9. Yeah, we can do it all year around. There's no reason why we should be struggling or feel as though we can't be prosperous in this temperate zone. There are only a few in the U.S. like this. Florida's got a temperate zone like this. And I'm proud to say that one of our strategic kind of advisors has helped us in our early stages for strategizing this has been an organization called Fleet Farming in Orlando. And Fleet Farming, again, great place to grow all year. They've done front lawn gardening in a different way for different people in a different way. And I'm saying, we can do that for our people in our way here. Here's some of Brendan's work. He's a mastermind laboratory man who knows how to do everything. Let's see. Yeah, we've had over 20 acres committed to us in the Los Angeles area for offering to let us farm. We just haven't finished organizing and gotten the money yet to hire people to do it. Can you believe that? Like, most people have trouble finding land. We're talking with the park systems and these official channels, but even further out, in this image is a church that's far out away. But if we were to farm it, we could bring the food into this system, share with them as much as they need. It's just a matter of us having what we need to do it. So we're always searching for partners. one of our partners in finding reentry staff has been a man named Tobias Tubbs. He had a 30-year sentence that he served, I believe, 28 years of here in California. And he's not an old man, so he's mostly lived in jail. But there he has this deep spiritual ability to connect with plants and horticulture. So over the course of years, Tobias Tubbs started a program called Insights Gardening Program. And Insights Gardening opened over 14 gardens in jails that are allowing people to rehabilitate and creating food. So it's so funny. I ran into him randomly, overheard his little intro about himself, and I made myself introduce myself, and we got connected. So we've gotten connected, and now we've made it a point in the center of our organization to say reentry, anti-recidivism, those are key social goals here. So we may make money, but we're going to be focusing on, that population. So we made a point by making him a 10% owner in our company, and that way that's always going to be there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he's always been inspirational, an excellent speaker and ambassador for what plants can do. He believes deeply in soil. He's been excited that I'm talking to you today, given the soil focus of your work. Yeah. So let's see, I'm going to zoom through some of the rest of these.
There's
Some of
mine.
you recognize this chart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use it in my presentation, ma'am.
Great. That's cool.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Meeting
Oh,
is being
sorry,
uploaded
yeah.
by the...
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
no. Is it good?
I.
Okay.
Oh, they said I love it. A gift from Zoom. Hey,
Yeah,
oh,
I use
sweet.
all of these in my presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Just to say that, we've refocused on the soil. I have done, I think, 3 different areas soil tested in my backyard here. And now my plan is to do some, I can switch off the video now. Now my plan is to do some, how do you stop sharing? Stop sharing. Oh, stop sharing, there it is. So now my plan is, since I know my soil is not so great, I'm going to do a no-dig market garden with rows to grow microgreens and things like that. But yeah, let me just pause there and see if you guys want to, that was about half an hour. Ask any questions.
I don't have any at the moment.
Okay, that's fine. That's great. Well, today was our 1-year anniversary of the crop swap. We had about 15, 20 people show up. It's funny because everyone tries different things and has a story about it. This one woman today has this incredible story about strawberry guavas. She's like, "Oh, I know what this is. This is a strawberry guava. I know because back in my home country, whenever I was bad and I was a bad kid, they would put me in a bag and they'd hang me up in the tree, and it would always be a strawberry guava tree." So she would hang in the tree and eat those. It's her memory.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So it's just funny because, the culture just melds. People understand each other. There's this empathy level that's natural. And it's been great. So one day, our plans are to have a state-of-the-art kind of demonstration center where we can operate out of. We're gradually getting to where those things may happen. Getting people to help us write grants, getting lawyers pro bono, we're kind of in that phase, but it's exciting.
Yeah, that's great. So are you doing raised bed gardens for individuals with grant money, or is that the plan? How is that?
Right, yeah, that's one of the plans, to work through grants to subsidize heavily the cost of raised beds on people's lawns. That way, instead of people paying $5,000 for the materials and labor, they may be paying, you know, $1,000 or $500 even for really low income areas to encourage people to to have better eating habits. So that's one plan. The other plan that right now we're operating on without grant money is to work through private individuals and folks who do have the financial capacity to have that built for money. So, you know, we have, you know, great designs, automated irrigation. It'll be nutrient grown. It'll be, you know, like great seedlings plugged in, ready to go on day one. So with weekly maintenance by the crop swap too. So that I think is a big added value for most people's lawns, for their real estate. So through that private channel, we're also engaging like private families and clients. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing, you know, more your progress and you know, just how you move the whole thing along. That's wonderful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's really been interesting. I think one day I'm going to write something about this.
Yeah, you should.
Just to say that. Yeah, because, you know, you're kind of like, it's community and it's business, but it's also, there's justice involved. There's food apartheid is the term that I see is most accurate happening in a place like Los Angeles. And food apartheid means some food goes here that's good, and some food goes there that's not as good. And it's an intentional, deliberate thing within specific food distribution systems, specific companies, corporations, grocery stores that you have to shop at. They send worse food to some neighborhoods and better food to other neighborhoods. I think that that's wrong. And it's not because of a scarcity. It's a false sense of scarcity. It's an assumption that the good food needs to be rationed and is therefore a higher value. It's not true. And in fact, you know, more so, like what I know from Dr. Bogs' book is that even the organic food is oftentimes made in the same fields that are depleted and toxic. And so really we have to take control as much as we can. You know, I don't hate anybody for, you know, having a food system that serves them. But thankfully nature is so abundant that I can redirect its nature and its energy to then serve us. So, you know, that system can continue to exist in its way if it wishes, but I just don't think it has any chance against something as appealing as what we're putting together.
I think you really should write a book, you know, a guidebook for other communities to be able to do what you're doing, you know.
Yeah,
step
certainly.
by step, you know, you're right out there in the trenches, you're understanding exactly what needs to get done. And if you could do that, that would be a huge service to humanity.
Thank you. I'll look into it.
I mean, even start small, you know, you know, just even kind of keeping records or whatever. I mean, and it'll all come together, you know. I mean, you'll just kind of create it over time, just, you know, from yeah. I know you're busy too, you know, and but like my book took a couple of years, you know. I mean, just writing it part-time and, you know, putting it together. So it takes time.
Just start thinking about chapter names right now.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really about balance. I think that's what it'll end up being around, because I have, you know, we've done all that I mentioned on here with no budget, and we've really only brought in $600 in revenue to cover some materials once, and I think that's a success, because we've got so much more momentum than anything I've started in my background. I've started some stuff that I thought were great, but this seems to pull itself, and that's when you know to go with it. Well, thank you. I'll definitely, because I want to share this story too. You know, speak to other organizations. I've been reaching out to foundations in LA to have some lunch and learns with their staffs, and, you know, some strategic moves.
Yeah, see, and all of that stuff that you're doing, that's really important, that people know, what can I do? Just this idea of reaching out to other groups and things like that, funding sources. So
Yeah.
just like a guide, that's what's needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it could be for anything. I mean, having started this online with, we started it naturally, but then I went online to nextdoor.com and meetup.com. Like, that's a good way to start something that you think needs to happen, because likely other people do too. And in fact, like in 2016, that's when I felt like a lot of my solutions to the world's problems weren't actually able to be fixed. Like I didn't have any answers anymore. I was like, wait, I thought everything I had set up, made sense. And the world didn't make sense then. And so I think now seeing this as a solution to so many of its other problems, I'm just really committed to pushing it. We've got, people who are elderly and sick who are excited to get a garden one day, to have an herb garden. We've got families who are like, 1 or 2 kids. It would add, an economic buffer plus a nutrition buffer, all this insurance to a family's health and sustainability. I think it's a key element. So we're doing our best to stay, focused on sustainability recently, and then hopefully find partners to help us along.
Great. Well, that's awesome. So Tracy, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think it's an awesome start. It's just such a cool thing that you're doing with, and the community is just going to start, gravitating to you, and that and what you're doing, and it's just going to start collecting people, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. Sounds great.
So you've already got like 100 people involved, is that right?
Wow.
Yeah, 100 gardeners that we've got on record, 20 acres of land.
Nice.
There are probably 6 people in our core group, including, the run farmers market and cross swaps. There are probably 3 politicians involved, including 2 city council people and the state assemblywoman. It's just crazy, the levels, because this transcends levels. It transcends race, class, history. In fact, I think it invites history in a unique way. Folks are excited to share their cultural foods and say, oh, my grandmother had this spice and so forth. It allows us to own ourselves again, really caring for ourselves. And in a city like LA with really high pollution, I track the air pollution and wear a mask on the days when it's bad. It's nice to have a garden with some, fresh flowers that just detoxify as they run. So thank you. I'm hoping to keep, helping others find this.
Great. Awesome. Well, okay, I think we'll just wrap it up here. Thank you so much, Jamiah and Tracy, for coming on. And I know there's other people that will enjoy this video, so I'll be sending it out to them.
Great.
So
thank you so much. And if people want to follow along or something, they can, use Instagram. We are the West Adams Crop Swap on Instagram, and the West Adams Crop Swap, it's just westadamscropswap.com.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay.
Thank
Nice
you
to meet you,
all.
Jamiah. Aloha.
Aloha.